Well, we are back for session 50, 50, big number, almost a year of weeks across the Atlantic. Session 23. It is Saturday, February 10th, in the early morning. To recap your very early morning from the previous session, you basically had been in a big fight that night. So your initial post fight response, Wright is injured. Brady goes to check on him, pulls him back into the room. Baker smacks Wright to get more of the water out and gets 1 HP back to Wright as he reawakes. Nora tackles Jack Bleecker. Watts comes over to and knocks him out. Wright updates the team that the Deep One escaped over the side. Bleecker tries to get away. Watts fails to stop him, but Nora shoots him brutally, doing a huge amount of damage. Nora's first aid stabilizes him somehow back to 1 health, despite him being having like a leg severely wounded with a tourniquet. Watts is taking Wright and Bleecker to the infirmary. Brady to accompany. Draper to go warn the captain and get some people to come help and guard. Nora to check the bodies. Miss Cuthbert has bands on her arms and Nora pulls them off. Notices they are warm to the touch as she removes them. Rain stops and a faint glow of sunrise appears on the horizon. Check the hybrid Deep Ones, take some of the random stones and carvings from them, and a 38 revolver and 2 stilettos. Draper tells the captain what happened, fetches aid from one of the bridge crew, and the first mate goes to find more help. Brady, Watts, Wright, and Bleecker on the way to the infirmary. Check out the room with the explosion on the way. Watts is bandaged up. Wright is given some medicine. Brady is okay but shaken. Bleecker is being treated by the doctor. Flinders is sleeping soundly. Watts tells the crew to watch over the guy that was brought in. Draper arrives with a crewman to help Nora in the actual the dining hall. Crewman fails a sandy roll though and vomits everywhere, leaving the room to guard. You check the henchman, find a note that is written in some kind of code, and an extra pistol, a box of ammo, brass knuckles. Crewman and his first mate show up. Both crewmen fail their sanity rolls. One runs away, and the other passes out briefly, but stay to help. So this room has been taking its toll on people, even post-fight. Watts, Brady, and Wright off to find Miss Cuthbert's room. Wright uses his obelisk to check the rooms, feels a faint response from the third room. They break into that room. It seems to be clean and well kept. Wright tosses Watts the obelisk, and it reacts to the ring. He hands it back. Wright carefully goes over the room. It's hardly touched and very clean. The artifact, though, responds to something in the suitcase. You search the suitcase with the trident to be careful. There's a medallion with a simple leather strap that falls out, very similar to Nora's, but older and made of marble. Heading to bed, you split up with the tall man's room with Wright and Draper because of the explosion in the other room. Watts, Brady can use their own room. Watts puts the egg away, not wanting to have his dreams disturbed. Watts leaves the artifact in the duffel bag under the sink. Baker is in her room. That brings us to Saturday, February 10th, 1923, either the late morning if one of you wants to get up while you're asleep instead of actually sleeping, or potentially somewhere around midday to early afternoon if you get a proper rest. I will leave that up to you. Anything I missed? Do you want to recap?
As a pretty thorough recap in a quick time.
Mm-hmm.
Watts chose not to sleep with his egg because of the events that unfolded that day. It was exhausting.
Yeah, I was just adding brass knuckles to my actual combat part of my sheet because I forgot about that.
I also missed that we found a encoded note last session.
No, I thought I included that. Yeah. Checks the henchman, finds a note as written in some kind of code, and as well as the extra pistol, box of ammo, brass knuckles.
Well, saying I forgot.
Oh, sorry, you. Yeah. Oh, yes, that's a good thing. So to give you guys a bit of like a quick rundown of like pending stuff, you have the artifact. It's in a duffel bag now rather than a box, and it's been taken out and has been touched by Mr. Watts, and it took him to some faraway place where he was underwater at some kind of strange temple. You have the rings that were from Miss Cuthbert's arms. There's the medallion, as I mentioned, in Miss Cuthbert's luggage. There's Watts's ring, which has been not super important, but exists and is magical and has had some reactions to things. There is a note written in his code, as we just discussed. There is, of course, the egg, which is not going to come into play right now. There is the lamp, which also has not come into play, but exists once more. There are peoples, obviously, Miss Hastings, Miss Green, the captain, crew, passengers, and you had some people here you were looking into before. And there is, of course, Flinders, as well as the henchmen who are both in the infirmary. Neither one to doing terribly well, but as far as you know, stable. Whether they will come to and be particularly useful to you or important is, well, stand to be seen.
I think one thing that I think we should do is when the henchman wakes up, ask him if he knows of anyone else on the boat that worked for his group.
Sell out all his buddies.
Yeah.
Can I take a look at the note? Who has it?
So are you guys waiting to wake up and regroup like midday, early
Yeah.
afternoon, so you actually get to sleep then?
Yeah, I think we need to probably engage around about 9 a.m. just to make sure everybody's still alert, awake. I mean, alert and alive. We all good to meet later? Like, I could do with a little bit more rest. I'm exhausted.
Yes, I think rest is probably for the best. Perhaps put that artifact away somewhere enclosed,
Oh.
at least.
What artifact?
The artifact. The reason we're on this boat.
I don't know what you're talking about, Nora, but if I did know, I'm sure it'd be safe. Wink.
Well, you guys aren't out in the open right now, so you don't.
No, I mean, I would have knocked on her door because we're in different rooms. Like,
Oh, okay.
hey,
you came back out to do this.
I
see.
came out. Hey, you want to wake up, or are we good to relax? The two boys, Roland and right, are you with us in our room, or are you in a different room?
We're in the tall man's room.
Yeah, we
On
went
the other
across
side
the
of the
ways because ours is
Right.
kind of done in.
And then I'll check on you guys, same thing. And then I'll tell Brady. I said, hey, man, we've still got some time to sleep up. The others seem to be good. I think we need the rest, get our energy back, kind of thing. And then suggest we meet up for like a late lunch. If lunch is being served, of course. There's a bit. I hope so.
You seem to be doing a lot better with all of this, Was. You feel better now that the crawling chaos is off our backs.
Oh, I feel better that I was proved right. Like, it's what I told you before we got on the boat. It's not that I chose to be here, but it's unfolded the way I thought it was going to fold. I still think there's more to come, but
Well, the ship is still floating, so small mercies at least.
small mercies indeed, and the storm has passed, and that has given me more relief than anything else.
Fair enough, but if it's all the same to you, I think I'll sleep in a bit more.
Oh, indeed, I need to too, and we had such a rough day. I don't know how it can get worse. No, I know how it could get worse. That's what I expect.
You hear Nora from the other side of her door, which has already been closed. For God's sake, Watts, don't tempt fate.
All right, right. You've got some stories to write, and gosh, I hope we survive for you to be able to tell this story. Might have to be put under the non-fiction section, but
Don't exactly know how to edit this one for newspaper. And it's also not exactly the story I floated for this trip in the first place, but I have a lot of thinking to do.
maybe give yourself one of those fake names that writers like to do and publish a book.
That is always a possibility.
know that I would use it in my what do you call them my lectures at university. I mean, I know I only get to go on at like 9 p.m. and there's only like 2 or 3 people over there, but I'd use that kind of work for that.
I'll have to look into it. I've been too busy these last few years to think about something like that.
The mole people, I get it.
I'm going back to bed.
Me too. See you around 1 o'clock, 1 p.m.
We'll see what the day brings.
All right. Is Roland okay?
Probably just still asleep.
Looks
Conk right
over.
out.
You know,
He's still breathing.
that's good. He's not all that bad, you know. I feel I can trust him now.
Now that would make a good paper. Bonding through trauma.
As long as you're not bonding with the person who caused the trauma.
Very true.
Known to happen, apparently.
See you in a few hours.
Laters. Good morning?
Shuts the door.
Slam.
I just,
So, unless is there anything else you want more to do before your rest?
I don't think I'm going to go back to bed. To sleep. I'm going to go back to bed where I'm going to read over the book that I took from Miss Hastings. So just to see if there's anything. Like, I'm going to skim read just to see if anything catches my eye or like,
Give me
holy shit.
a hard Constitution roll.
Is that a place I click hard? Yes, there it is.
You sit down at the desk and open the book in front of you. You start reading. You find it very
Right.
engrossing.
Wait,
It's-
sorry. I have 45 luck, so I'm going to actually spend the luck to make it 32.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Like, I'm just going to do it.
Okay. So spending your luck,
17
your
luck.
your eyes droop heavily. You're trying to focus on the book. You start nodding off and you fall forward, your eyeball jamming into a pen that is upright on the desk. The sudden stab wakes you back up, and you reawaken before drifting off to sleep, and focus back up to continue reading the book. While sleep weighs heavily upon you, you're able to once more focus and push your way through reading this book further for any kind of clues. I guess give me maybe like a occult roll or a mythos roll, depending on how hard you want to go.
I mean, I've been so unlucky this whole time. Like, I feel like my last 100 rolls have been super unlucky. I should pass my occult roll, being an 80. But because I've been unlucky, why not play the fates and let's go mythos instead with a 15?
All right, let's do it.
Oh, damn it. I would have failed my occult.
You would have failed your I won't say that you discovered nothing. Like in terms of like having spent the time to actually stay awake and review this. As you read through further on the book, you're able to discern from your knowledge of Rylian some of the symbology upon the various like drawings that are of different like maps and areas and diagrams. You feel relatively certain now that the area that it alludes to, some kind of area of power, is an area in the Western Atlantic, and that very likely over the course of the last couple of days, you have passed over and are now on the far side of this area. Maybe you may not have exited yet. It's very difficult to tell. You don't know exactly where in the ocean you are, but based on your knowledge of the time it takes for this trip, you feel confident that wherever this place of power is, the worst is past, and there's some indication that this is true in terms of your experiences of the rain stopping, etc. Whether more is at work here and is truly out of danger will stand to be seen. But you do have something that you can certainly follow up on, both in terms of like your current situation and the reaction of the artifacts upon on board and the people, as well as potentially in the future in terms of further investigation of what lies deep beneath the waves.
I think learning that, and depending on how long you think it took me to find that, with me fighting staying awake, it will put me at ease a little bit, and I feel like I could fall asleep a little bit easier than I would have before.
So you'll end up going to bed late.
Yes, I'll go to bed late, but more peacefully than I would have if I didn't know what I just jammed my eye with.
I will also point out that you would be knowledgeable about where the Titanic sank,
Okay.
which similarly corresponds with the location that you have discovered.
And we're on our way there still.
No, you are past that point because the Titanic sank much closer to New York than it did to England.
Southampton. Yeah. Okay. Can I look at my locket, which has a picture of my dad in it, and see if I can feel any peace from that at all?
I think you need a certain amount of time if you want to
Okay.
actually try and regain sanity. I am not 100% sure on that. I have
That's
some
okay.
recollection that this is a thing that, like, if it's not like an immediate touchstone. You'd have to spend some like days or something, sort of communing with whatever your thing is that like you have this connection to.
Okay, I'm gonna write down my feelings then in a book.
Yeah,
about-
basically it's a downtime activity essentially.
Yeah, I'll write down my feelings before and feel that. I make reference to what I read, kind of. Yeah. I do want to tear a page out. I don't want to tear a page out of this book, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna.
I feel like as somebody who's a student of the occult and so on,
Yeah.
you'd probably be a little remiss to like actually
Yeah.
damage one of these artifacts.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just wasting time here, so I'll just go to bed more peaceful than I would have before.
All right, you fall asleep late in the morning, and you're able to catch several hours of sleep at the end of the end of this period to be able to get at least some rest. And I guess everybody give me a D100 roll to decide who wakes up first. You can just give me a generic D100 roll. We'll just basically make this like a top-down randomness sort of who wakes up. With the exception of Mr. Watts, who will have to be awakened by his companions because he went to sleep late.
It makes sense for Brady's. He's an old man.
Like totally out. I feel like old men is like it's one way or the other. It's like either they need like no sleep and they're up crack of dawn, or they like sleep in like crazy.
I've got to get up and have my fiber supplement.
That's right, and your prune juice.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, Mr. Wright, you awaken first. The sun is beating down upon the deck, but it is midday, so it's not shining in the window. You can see that it seems that the clouds are now pulling back, and there's not much cloud cover other than from the sort of the edge to behind the ship. If you look out the window,
Is there a curtain?
there is a very small curtain, which you may have pulled or you may not have. You would obviously have to pull it back if you had put the curtain over to be able to see all the way out. Otherwise, you'd catch the light sort of trickling in.
It kind of squinting groggily, swears under his breath that he left the curtain open, shuts it, then rolls back over in bed.
Next on the list then is Baker. You similarly open your eyes a brief crack as you feel the crusty sleep break in the corners of your eyes, and you see that there's light trickling in of the noonday sun through the edges of the curtains.
Nora will sit bolt upright in bed, like reaching for her gun to check that it is where it should be, and listen carefully for sounds on the ship to see if anything sounds amiss.
Give me a listen roll. You listen and you hear nothing of note, but that itself is somewhat something of note. You would expect there to be some noises from out upon the deck just outside your window of people going to and fro, given the middle of the day. Apparently, all is quiet upon the ship, more so than what would be normal from your first couple days of your trip.
Okay, I'm going to check my gun over very quickly to make sure it seems like operational and normal, and then I'm going to very slowly like unlatch and push the window open and peek out to see if I can see anyone about or anything.
Looking out the window, there are a few people who are out upon deck. They all look rather beleaguered, potentially that they have been obviously seasick, rattled, or both by the experiences that they've just gone through. There is about 5 people on deck on that side, so it is quite quiet upon deck, but certainly not empty. People speaking in hushed tones, and a few people simply looking out across the ocean, likely glad that it's no longer rolling and stormy.
Do they seem like people who are just kind of miserable from their bad sea voyage, or do they seem like traumatized by knowing that more than that is going on?
Give me a hard psychology roll.
I'm trying to get a sense of like how messed up they seem, but I don't know. She can't tell. Ooh, that's terrible.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, hard to say. Anybody who's been through the last few days of stuff that's happened on the ship would probably be not feeling so great. It does not strike you as unusual, however they're acting.
All right. She will pull back into her room and close the window behind her, and then start just like getting ready for the day, freshen up a bit. Check her pockets for all of the stuff she might need, and check on all of her artifacts and stuff. Make sure they are where they should be and haven't been doing anything strange. I can't imagine she's carrying the lamp around with her, but
No, I think we established that you're not carrying the lamp around with you.
yeah. So she would check her hiding spot to make sure that it was fine and didn't look any different. And yeah,
it does not. Your various items are in a good place. We will then go to Mr. Draper as the next to wake.
I'll just get up, do some stretches, and then check on Wright, see if he's there and okay.
Yeah, he seems a little pale from his experience. It is late night, but he is he is soundly sleeping. You obviously did not hear that he had woken probably like 10-20 minutes before you, and decided to simply go back to sleep.
I'll probably just leave him alone and just wait for somebody to come get us. Maybe just mess around with some of my tools, work on a lock or something.
You're fiddling about, and we will say, I guess, give me a dexterity roll or something to see whether you wake up Mr. Wright.
Oh, I like drop my whole bag and just everything spills out on the floor.
So, Mr. Wright, Mr. Draper wakes up a little while after you, and he decides to get to work with his equipment, looking at, taking care of some things and doing some work quietly at the desk. he accidentally lets his bag slip from the desk, and it slams into the floor, sending metal items rattling across it, which wakes you back up.
Scramble to try to like get everything up.
Ray swears and then is like reaching in his pockets and realizes he's already gotten all of that off. He doesn't have pockets. He's not wearing his overcoat. Who's there? What is that?
Oh, sorry, right?
Oh, it's you. Oh,
I
okay.
didn't mean to wake you. I was just clumsy. I was getting ready to just, I don't know, fiddle about. And just dropped my bag.
What?
Oh, sorry. I just was fiddling about with my locks and stuff and dropped my bag.
Oh, I see. You rigging more traps?
No, I was just gonna fiddle with some locks.
He peeks through the window. About what time does it look like from the sun?
At some point post noon, probably 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's a little hard to tell on a ocean voyage, obviously, as time zones and stuff, complicated and confusing to people of the 1920s.
I haven't slept in this late for a while. Suppose the others are probably already up.
Could be. At least they haven't come by yet. I'm just gonna wait.
Right, lights up a cigarette. Do you want a coffee?
That would probably be good. Yeah. Let me just get everything cleaned up here real quick.
Kind of coughs on his cigarette and kind of does a double take at his cigarette and continues. Walks out the door. Sorry, did you say you wanted a coffee?
Yes. I'll come with you. Just give me a second. As I am just shoveling everything back into the bag.
I will say at this point is when Mr. Brady awakes. You find a Watts. I know. Did Watts fall asleep at the table, or did he actually go to bed?
Watts went back to bed. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you find a Watts passed out, but there's a book open upon the bed, or upon the table. That looks like he had stayed up a little bit.
Oh no! What the book will be on Watts's pillow.
Uh,
Open but face down, and Watts will be face down as well next to it, like kind of.
all right. So you went to bed to sleep to read the book.
Yeah.
Is he drooling?
I don't know, Watts. Are you drooling?
100%.
Snoring hard?
100%. Exhausted. Had a few swigs because he got shot the day before.
I'm gonna carefully try and just like take the book and close it and then just like set it on like the nearest table. Or the nearest like place where I can set it.
I'll be dead to the world unless you physically shake him. You can literally drop anything around. He's not waking.
Okay.
He's that exhausted.
Yeah, I'll just remove the book from him, place it somewhere safe, and then double check the artifact's location.
That was underneath the sink in the cupboard.
Okay.
Artifact remains underneath the sink in the cupboard.
Okay. And then yeah, I'm just gonna do like I'm just gonna like splash some water in my face and get woke up, and then kind of listen close to see if I can hear any of the rooms, see if anybody's awake.
I will say, timing wise, you would hear Mr. Wright exiting into the hall as he turns back to speak to Mr. Draper about heading off to get coffee.
That would also be his idea as well. So I think he would probably try and time it and get out in the hallway whenever somebody had walked out of their room.
I do believe also for having slept, you all regain 1 hit point.
Ooh.
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 That is an addition of 30% of my health.
Oh, if you've taken a significant wound, I think you actually maybe don't.
I have taken a significant wound. I was wounded significantly.
Yeah, I might be taking my coffee to the doctor.
Okay, major wounds. Yeah, regular damage recovery is 1 hit point per day. But if you received a major wound, you have to do a constitution roll at the end of each week, and you get 1d3 back. Or 2d3 on an extreme success.
All right. I have withtracted the additional point from being
Sorry.
added.
Getting a major wound is serious business. I don't think anybody else got a major wound, right?
Okay. Well, I just know that Miss Cuthbert was doing the thing to me and like my heart, and I think
I think you fell just short of the point at which it would have counted as a major wound. You took like a bunch of damage, but like in little pieces, so it was never a major wound. You have to take like a
Okay.
bunch of damage in one big fell swoop.
Okay. I thought maybe I didn't. I thought I took. Is there like a point at which it turns into a major wound? I lost 6 damage. Or 6
Yeah,
points of health.
so a major wound I think has to be half your health in a single hit,
Okay.
which did not have. You got hit, I think, a few turns in a row.
Okay. All right.
Go man, back
Alright.
up. Yes, equal to or greater than half of the character's maximum hit points in a single attack. So you took a couple things of damage, but that wouldn't have been enough to. Even if you took 6, I think your total health is 13, isn't it?
11.
Oh, it's 11. Either way, my recollection is you did not take 6 damage in one hit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, hearing Mr. Wright come out of the room, or at least a door opening, I would probably try and open up, try and get out there roughly the same time.
Give a nod. Coffee?
Mr. Wright? Yes. Yeah. That was my intentions.
Be just a moment.
You hear some
And step
clanging
back
around in the
inside.
room.
Take the additional second to put on overcoat.
I assume Nora would hear them like moving around in the hall.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, Nora, if you hear them and you want to poke out, you certainly could do so.
Right, I will poke my head out the door. Getting some coffee, breakfast, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're waiting on Roland at this point, but I think we all have the same idea.
Excellent. I don't believe I've slept that long in quite a while, but still feel the need for quite a wake up.
When I get out there, I'll look at who's out there and then say, "Is Watts all right?" He's not up yet,
Yeah,
is he?
he's still sleeping. I don't think you want to talk to him at this point.
Well,
he's-
trying to make sure everyone was all right after the night and morning we had.
Yeah, it seems like he had a late night reading session with the book that he had taken from Mrs. Green.
I see. Well, if he is not yet up and about, perhaps we should not all leave, just in case there are still some active people on board trying to take this artifact. I will wait here with Mr. Watts, if you don't mind fetching as many coffees as you can carry between the group of you.
Yeah, I was trying to look and see if there were drink carriers invented back in the 20s, and apparently the like the like a cup holder in a vehicle I think was in the 1920s at one point, but the actual
Dang.
cardboard tray itself wasn't until like the 1950s.
Yeah, I would assume it would be like cutlery and like porcelainware, and it would be like a proper tray that we would have to
Yeah.
like have.
She'll pause for a moment. If no one's looking too closely, perhaps just bring the entire kettle.
I'll see what I can do.
Nora will nod and light a cigarette and go into Mr. Watts's room to keep an eye on him and the artifact.
Well, important enough, I guess. We'd be good for like if the ship actually had percolators, we could probably take the whole percolator.
I'm sure we have a little extra sway after saving the ship and all that.
Not to mention that the place is probably a bit short-staffed, and you know that the main dining hall essentially is locked down right now, so they're going to have to be doing deliveries to people's rooms or having people like eat on deck.
And then the looting started.
Oh, jeez.
So you're heading down to the mess hall, the dining area.
Yeah.
Yep.
As you make your way down the stairs, there's a few people around. It seems like people are largely staying to their rooms, but you do see various crewmen who are carrying. Oh, fuck my neck. Crewmen who are carrying trays to various rooms and dropping them off. People seem, the general feeling of the vibe on the ship is that people are still concerned and, but also relieved that it seems like the worst is behind them. Just simply unsure of what exactly seemed to have actually happened, as very few people are in the know of the actual events that had transpired. Getting to the dining hall, you see that there are still several crewmen who are stationed outside the dining hall. The mess itself, where the kitchen is actually off to the side and does not require going into the dining hall to access, which is where various crewmen are coming in and out of with trays of meals, etc. So you could go there directly, or you could see about re-accessing the dining hall. But it looks like that area is off limits at the moment to obviously the majority of the crew. Probably not yourself.
I just head to the kitchen.
Heading to the kitchen, you look inwards. You see a bustling staff who are in the midst of preparing breakfasts and lunches, coffee and tea. It's quite a hive of activity as they seek to feed people who are suddenly once again hungry after days of seasickness and worry.
Is there like a line forming up somewhere for beverages?
There is a few people like yourself who seem to be coming in to fetch their own drinks. It looks like there is a one of the staff at the front by the door pushing them to the side as you approach, and says, he says, asks taking orders, is like, "Sir, yes, what can I get you? If you could stay in your room, we'll deliver stuff quite promptly, but I can get you something quickly right now if you need." And the fellow says, "Yes, coffee. I need it now." And he nods, and a younger fellow behind him heads over and pours a quick drink and comes back with it and hands it off. Approaching, presumably you will ask similarly, and they'll look towards you. And the fellow standing there has a bit of a realization and says, "Sirs, what happened last night? They're not letting us into the dining hall. You seem to have been involved in it."
Yeah, there was a little bit of a scuffle that happened, and I'm not sure everything has been taken care of to the best that it should at this time. There was a lot that went down, and I'm not too sure on where they're at with getting it back to where everyone can go in that room.
Seems that there are dead in the room, from what we saw through the doors when it peeked in. Uh, Hopefully, whatever is done, and we'll be safely on through the rest of our trip. Now, I can give you a quick breakfast to take on your way. We're doing only short order this morning, given the situation.
Yeah, I think we're on the up and up, but there still could be some stragglers. There's really no telling, but I think we're out of the storm, both figuratively and metaphorically. So, or literally rather. Um, yeah, I think we're just needing a lot of coffee, as much as you can gather.
You see behind him as one of the assistants is bustling around already, preparing 2 trays for you. Comes back, and the tray has a couple of plates piled high with bacon and beans, toast, and marmalade, as well as a carafe of coffee and a pile of cups on the other tray. He hands the first one off to the group of you, and then the second for whoever wants to carry them.
I will take one of the trays, and I will say I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Uh, 2 of you give me a spot hidden. Who else?
My spine's
welcome to if you want to.
50.
Mine's 45.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and do it then.
Wow.
Great. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, you need a hard success or better. With an extreme success, Draper, as you are looking over the shoulder of the fellow you're talking to, you see in the back one of the cooks is looking you dead in the eyes with a cold, hard glare. As you make eye contact with him, he breaks his vision of you and seems to duck down back to some other task. But you know for sure that he was looking directly at you. I forget who all interviewed the guy in the kitchen.
I think it was Brady and Baker.
I was gonna say I don't think you were there for that, so you don't know who this is.
But I would know there was somebody in these kitchens that we were suspicious
yes,
of.
you do have that. You don't know that this is that guy for sure, but like I would not say it's unreasonable for you to make that assumption.
Okay.
That some dude who's like
Yeah. When
looking at you.
once we're away, I'll mention that to the
Yeah.
rest.
Wright's looking around. He kind of stares at Brady for a second. Oh, let me get that and flex a little hair off one of the bacon. Successfully saved one of us from poor whatever hygiene standards.
So you exit the kitchen and you're on your way back up. Mr. Wright, are you, or sorry, Mr. Watts, are you remaining asleep? Mr. Watts? You did. Said, are you
Sorry,
remaining asleep?
Yeah, I am. Until somebody physically wakes me, I'm staying asleep. It's been a rough few days.
All right, so the lot of you return back up with Miss Baker and Mr. Watts in their room with your tray of coffee and delectable delights.
I was gonna say, I was waiting, Nora would have a few smokes and look at the book that he was apparently reading when he fell asleep. Just like glance through it, see if she can make anything of it.
I guess give me a luck roll for random perusal. Flipping through the book, you land on a page late in the book. The design on it looks familiar. It seems very similar to that of your pendant.
You'll see pencil scribings that I would have written lightly in the book. You might see Nora's pendant in light pencil writing, or any other page that I might have opened, like where the Titanic location was and where we are now. You might see like a pencil marking.
Yeah, so you might catch that, particularly if it was like the page that it was left open to. So it's like a bit creased to that point.
All right. Well, she will take note of that and sort of look over more closely, like the pages near the image, to see if there's any like specific references that she can actually understand.
You would need more time to sit down and translate this properly with somebody who understands it to be able to make full sense of it. This is really all you can glean in terms of the short period of time flipping through a book and having a successful luck roll.
Yep. All right.
So you once again are grouping back up. You've got a sleeping Watts and a Baker who is looking at this book. Draper, Wright, and Brady. You arrive to find Miss Baker and decide whether to wake Watts.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
You're back. Someone should probably wake him up at this point. He, shouldn't sleep all day or he'll never fall asleep tonight. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, there's should be plenty of coffee and food here too, so hopefully you'll enjoy that as much as I'm going to.
Nora will put the book down and grab herself a cup of coffee. And if nobody else like moves to wake him, she will sort of shove Watts' bed with her boot. Like, Mr. Watts? Watts?
Is it 1 o'clock already?
It was about that.
Okay. I'll slowly get up and sniff the coffee. Take some. They brought coffee to us. Should we go get some food? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, there's food here and coffee, so
As Wright's
brought it-
like chewing on some bacon.
They brought us food. That's nice of them. Brady, right? How you guys feeling? You looked rough last night.
I can't speak for Mr. Wright, but I'm still feeling it. I may need to take a visit to the doctor, but I'm okay.
Just a bit tired.
Where's my book? Where's my book? Where's the book?
It's right here. She'll hand it over.
So, before I nodded off last night, I found some interesting things in this book. It was right to keep it. I don't want to jinx us, but I do feel like we are past the hot spot of the Atlantic.
Oh, I bloody well hope so.
Well, I mean, like if we're looking at this map here, this is on, and I flipped to the page. This is kind of where a lot of the sites are referenced. But if you look at this global map that we have of the ocean, this is about where the Titanic went, and it's the same location. And we're, according to what the captain and crew said, we've just passed that area now. So I feel like we're past the worst of it. I don't want to jinx it, but I think we might make it.
Well, that is quite the turnaround. I suppose, considering the events of the last few days, I shouldn't be surprised. Nora will light another cigarette, realize she has one burning, and just start smoking both of them.
Seeing you light up, Wright lights up, takes one puff, like coughs again, looks at it frustrated, and puts it out.
I open the porthole window, the window that we have in my room.
I can't speak for supernatural occurrences, but as far as the company we're keeping on the ship, it's certainly gotten a lot better over the last day. Or should I say, a whole lot less worse.
Improvement should be celebrated, regardless of how small an improvement.
Regarding that, when we were at the kitchen, while you guys were dealing with the trays, I noticed one of the cooks was looking at us a little strange, intently, and then when our eyes met, he like ducked away and tried to hide himself. I'll give whatever description I've got of him before he ducked away. To try to describe.
Yeah,
what he
if
looked
I
like.
recall, description here somewhere.
Mark Markopoulos, looking disheveled, tall, brown hair, and heavy set.
That's the fellow.
I think me and Nora met him. He definitely seemed like a character.
Oh, that fellow. Well, yes, he seems somewhat suspicious. I suppose that's our confirmation he is likely involved in these matters to some level or another.
Well, I mean, just a strange look wouldn't be quite enough for me, honestly. We as a group have been involved in or near a lot of the strange things that happened, so
This is true, but I'm hesitant to give him a pass just because we've been near things that are strange. He at least bears investigating further.
well, of course.
In the corner, you hear what's rustling around. Is that Nora? Can you turn around? I need to change my long johns.
Whatever. Fine.
I'm just gonna do it in front of everyone. Like, been through a lot together to care too much.
Right,
I'll
watches
freshen
with
myself
one
up.
raised eyebrow, just eating bacon.
You
Nora
get a
just
sense.
stands like facing Mr. Wright and starts eating bacon. like a few feet away from him, basically staring at him as they both just eat the bacon, smoke
Yeah, you get the
cigarettes.
sense that it's not Watts' first time getting changed in front of people.
I'll say, we do have the crew member, not crew member, the one person who survived our encounter last night. If he survived, we could ask him if he knew anyone else on the ship.
Yes, we should probably check in on him.
It's everything we've been through. Why can't we just report him?
Well, the crew hasn't exactly been up to the task. We did kind of tell them literally every single person that was relevant to last night's disaster, and yet they still did everything they did.
But do you not feel like we've earned that right with the captain? Or the bursar, at least? Like, hey, we just saved the entire passenger manifest from this, and we believe that so-and-so could be part of this. Lock him up until we can learn more and when we get to shore.
Ray flicks another hair off his bacon. I'll certainly be keeping that in mind next breakfast we have. And shovels some more in his mouth.
Watts will turn around and ask if you can help just pin his braces to the back of his trousers. His pants. Do you mind? Just clip him.
Very well. Clips him.
I'm ready. We should go. We should go check on the guy in the infirmary for sure. And I go to take out the artifact from under the sink and have a mild panic that it's not there. Did you take it? You took it, right?
No, I thought you put it back.
Okay, so I had to get the artifact in the duffel bag, put it over.
Well, I suppose we may as well go see what this fellow has to say, if he still has anything left to say. You sure we should be carrying that around?
I mean, after last night's events, we managed to take on how many people, and we were together, and the artifact was in the open. I think we're okay to sort this out.
Fair enough, but isn't it supposed to be contained for, magical reasons?
I'm fine with it. You saw before.
In my experience, you often tell us you're fine for quite a long time past what I would maybe describe as actually being fine.
Do we still have the box?
I don't know if you kept the outer box. The inner box you blew up.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't exactly contracted to transport a box.
It's true. Whatever. We'll just have to keep an eye on him. If he starts acting strange, I don't know. We'll take turns carrying the bag. Let's get this over with if we can.
So, infirmary first or the bridge?
Infirmary kind of be on the way to the bridge, right?
Oh wait, didn't one of you find a?
The infirmary is down the hall, the opposite direction from your cabins from the bridge.
Oh, okay.
Not wildly out of the way, though. It's not terribly far.
We can swing by to the infirmary first if it's closer than the bridge. Didn't one of you guys get a note or something? Do we know that you got a note?
I believe Draper and Baker know about the note.
Do I know about the note?
I guess since we are all together at this point, Baker would like describe the stuff that she found, like mention that she has some extra ammo, and I think I already maybe gave the extra gun to someone.
Yeah, I think you had some discussion about this because there's also the artifact, which is the rings.
Yeah, and so like we talked about the rings briefly before we had gone to sleep. I thought.
Yeah.
I think Nora was still holding on to them though. So.
Yeah, you were.
But yeah, she will share the note. I assume she can't make much out of it. She would take a close look at it herself. But
If you take a close look at the note, I have a note about this. It is a jumble of Roman and Cyrillic symbols that does not make any sense to you. It will clearly take some effort and study to try and break the code.
yeah, Nora knows this is not her forte, and offers it to the people who know more about like booky type stuff. Um, I certainly can't read it. Do any of you know what these symbols mean? My aunt may be of some use, but she's not terribly accessible at the moment.
Knowing
I
knowing
guess-
three different I was gonna say knowing 3 different languages, can I decipher any of it?
Similarly, while these symbols are familiar, is clearly like not a language; it is a code. And it's going to require some effort to do some code cracking to be able to figure out what it means.
Does it look like anything in the book of Mrs. Hastings?
It does not. It is a mix of Romanized and Cyrillic symbols.
Brady, do you know what this is?
I don't believe so.
Hmm.
Would I?
Maybe.
I-
I don't think any of you know Russian, or like Greek, and there are basically you would, as I said, like have at least from study know enough to recognize the symbols as like a weird mix of what is not really like correct looking for the languages that use these symbols. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
So Laura has like an education of 90. So like, would it be reasonable to assume she recognizes that the languages are like mismatched?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like,
Like,
if you are well educated and know, you would have enough knowledge to be like, this doesn't make sense. This is clearly some kind of code that is used to be able to pass stuff along. Not
Because it's like multiple alphabets, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Maybe
Well,
Mrs.
we'll have
Hastings.
to take a closer look at this at some point. Perhaps we can decipher something.
Well, I mean, the infirmary guy could obviously help if we press in the right areas, if you know what I mean. And
If
Mrs.
yes,
Hastings
I
would help.
suppose. I would feel better if we would try to involve Miss Hastings as little as possible at this point. Let's give her some time to recover from this. I don't think she was quite expecting the intensity of her first magical experience.
You think that was her first?
Of that magnitude, yes.
I'll take some food and eat some food that's there. Like just wolf it down as though I haven't eaten for 3 days. Let's go.
Right. Well, we best be on our way then. Nora will grab whatever, I don't know, like biscuits or whatever she can stuff in her pockets for later, and a fistful of beef and a mug of coffee. Or fistful of bacon.
I will be right behind them. I'll have a coffee in hand.
So where are you headed first? Like, which way are you going? Are you going straight down to the infirmary then, or?
I thought that was the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, infirmary first.
I'm so proud we're all traveling together.
You make your way down towards the infirmary, which is just down the hall from where you are, and you find quite the hubbub. There is a crowd of people standing around outside. quite a noise and commotion. And we will take a short break with that. All right, we're back. So as you approach the infirmary, there's a group of people gathered outside. They seem to be quite a hubbub. There's a nurse standing at the door, holding them back, as well as a couple crewmen just inside. And you hear her shouting for order.
Run over.
Running over, the hallway is quite filled with people. It seems that they are all in relative states of not terribly serious distress, but basically, now that things have settled down somewhat, you would interpret this as there has been a run on the infirmary with people who are looking for some kind of medical service. But the facilities are somewhat overrun at the moment with people in actual serious distress.
Nora will stand up to her full height and bellow down the hallway as loudly and as intimidatingly as she can. Everyone will move to the side immediately and make space for actual emergencies.
I guess give me an intimidation, or yeah, intimidation.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
A few of the people at the back look back towards you, and one of them says, "I have quite the headache, ma'am. Wait your turn."
She will look directly at the man and say, "I have quite the solution for your headache, sir. Move aside." And sort of just tap where her gun sits at her side and stride past him, Bruce.
I guess I don't know what would be the rule for this.
Push the roll. Push the roll.
Yeah, I mean, you could push the roll
Spend your
with
luck.
for intimidate, but you could also just physically do it with.
Yeah, I was thinking more just like kind of shoving her way past him. I don't imagine that he's going to try and stand up if she just like poof.
I'm gonna say yeah, you can do a straight strength roll or like a brawl.
I'll just do strength.
Just
I
shoot
don't
the
want
first
to hurt the
passenger.
guy. I just want to move him aside, out of my way.
With your bristling brawn, you muscle your way through the crowd and assume your companions follow suit behind you as you're able to push and pull your way through. You reach the front and oh Jesus, Pup, what are you doing? You reach the front and find the nurse there, and she's like, "Oh, it's you! Quick, get in!"
Nora will sort of push the crowd back a bit to make a bit of extra space and like usher everybody else in, and then follow inside.
Inside, you find that the infirmary is even more packed than before with actual severe cases. Various people from passengers, some of those from you might recognize from down below, who had broken into the room where the spell had happened, as well as other crewmen, etc., who were injured in the fighting, that are on tables, chairs, on the floor as well. The few medical professionals stepping over them as they go about their work, trying to stabilize and help them.
We don't want to interrupt. You're obviously quite busy, but we were hoping we could speak with that fellow we brought in last night.
The doctor looks over and says, "Which ones? We've had so many patients."
The well, I suppose prisoner. He was involved in the situation in the mess hall. He was rather badly injured, I'm afraid, missing a part of his leg, I believe.
Oh, geez, him. He is not awakened, but he's under quite a significant amount of sedation after the quick work that we did to try and stem the flow of blood. You're welcome to try to wake him up, but I don't think you'll have much success. He's sitting over there in the corner.
Is he stable for the moment, at least?
Only time will tell. He lost a lot of blood. I don't know if he'll make it to shore, but if he does, well, he's going to have a hard time of it.
I walk over to the corner while Nora's speaking to the doctor, and I just throw a glass of water over his face and slap him to wake him.
The roll for that is, I guess, roll me a. I don't know. Yeah. What is a chance?
What about his constitution?
Yeah, I guess maybe I'll roll his constitution. He remains conked out. You hear him mutter a few words, and his eyes slip open momentarily before they slip shut again. It seems that even if he wanted to wake up, he's having great difficulty doing so.
Nora's talking to the doctor. I mean, like, do you have any of those smelling things that you did before?
Same cupboard as before.
I'll grab it and just whiffed it under his nose with a little pinch on the inside of his nose where it's super painful too.
The fellow screams out and looks up and is like, and the doctor's like, "Sir, what are you doing over there to him?"
Nothing, don't worry. He just realized that he's been wounded. Don't worry about it.
We were hoping to ask him questions, not torture the poor fellow's death.
I was just waking him.
Like, no more! No more! Let me sleep!
Oh, okay. I mean, I found something that you don't like. That's good to know, but what does this say? And I'll show him the note.
He looks bleary-eyed, trying to focus upon it, and says, I don't know what this is. This is gibberish.
Are you sure? Where did you find this again? And I look over to my friends.
It was on Miss Cuthbert, I believe.
I mean, Miss Cuthbert had it to communicate with people, so I mean, I'm sure you've seen stuff like this before. So what is it? What was the plans?
I follow orders, sir, and those came from Miss Cuthbert and the high ups above her. I'm not involved in the communications. If this was hers, I certainly don't know how to decipher it.
Who were the uppers?
It's above my pay grade.
Pinch his nose again. The inside, not the actual nose. I got your nose. The inside where it's painful.
Oh, he's like, I don't know. Leave me alone.
You think he's telling the truth? I look over at Wright or Nora if Nora's arrived with us yet.
Does he look like he's telling the truth?
Give me a psychology roll.
Look. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
I've only got 24 luck.
Oh, I've still got more luck than you after I spent 17.
I think I've only spent a couple points too.
Yeah, I mean, Nora was paying attention to what was going on. feel like
You probably
it's
heard him
right.
scream a second time. I don't know if you're going to come over and see what I'm doing, like constantly slapping him around the face and pinching his nose while I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
It looks like he's in pain. Perhaps he knows about. Um, hmm. And what of your compatriot in the dining hall? Give him a squint stare.
I'm sure he'll tell you that, and I'll slap him around the face. You'll answer, my friend, right?
What's his
The-
orders?
The fellow says, dining hall. There is another on the boat, but I don't know where he was placed. If you say he's a dining hall, then so be it. But if he hasn't moved, I don't know what he's planning to do. We expected him to help out in the middle of that fight, but we never saw him.
Do you know what he looked like?
Promise him.
You know what?
Do you know what he looked like or his name?
No, he wasn't placed here with my group. He was the backup.
Why did they want this thing so badly?
Who knows? There's strange rituals. I didn't really believe in it. I was just there because the pay was good and it was a way to get ahead in the world. Fell in with the wrong crowd when I was younger and found myself in their pay. Like any organized crime, they had their own rituals and beliefs. I'm sure most of it was smoke and mirrors.
After everything you witnessed on this, seeing those fish things and people of the deep, as we call them, even after
He must
that, you
be
thought it was smoke and mirrors?
incredibly good
Oh.
at self-deception to convince yourself of such things.
You fell in the wrong crowd.
He,
You thought this is the right crowd.
You see as his eyes dart back and forth faster and faster, and he says,
It's-
no, it's not true. No, it was all a ruse. It was all a ruse. I was just doing what I would do for any crime family. And then he vomits bile all over the ground and lashes out, arms flailing before collapsing. And the doctor turns around and says, "Leave him alone. The man is out of his head. He's barely made much sense since when he briefly woke up before. What are you doing to him?"
What did he say before, Doctor? This is very important for the safety of everybody on this boat.
Before? I don't know. It was too busy in here. Something about his orders.
You might want to, I know, perhaps take a 2-minute walk outside, get some fresh air, and then come back in. I feel like it could do you some good.
To the doctor?
Yes. I know that you don't want to leave your post right now in this time of busyness, but maybe a little bit of fresh air could help you.
So, like, sir, I think I'll have to ask you to leave. I have far too much to do. If I had time for some fresh air, I would have time for a sleep, and I have not been to sleep in some time.
I know, and that's why you need some fresh air. So I insist that you leave us to sort this out. You can continue to do what you want to do. Step outside. Don't step outside, but we're going to get the answers from this guy. He's a criminal. He's tried to kill people. He probably has. It is for the safety of everyone.
I guess give him a persuasion or intimidation, depending on how you are doing this. I kind of feel like you're straddling the line.
I am straddling in the line. I don't want to be aggressive to the point. I feel like I want to persuade, and if it's not going to go my way, I'm going to pull out my gun and insist.
All right.
Not at her and point at her. I'm just going to pull it out. Okay, so I'll persuade for now. It's not going to go well.
Oh, you
Oh,
learned
wow,
it
that
from
was close.
Nora.
Only 5 points.
So yeah, I'm going to use my luck for that. 5 points.
So with your luck, the doctor looks extremely tired and says, maybe you're right. I could use a brief break, but I expect him in one piece when I return. And he turns and says, "Nurses, go get yourself a coffee." And to the crew, he says, "Bar the door, ensure that nobody gets in here, and keep an eye on the patients."
Ah, that's a bit more
No.
peaceful.
Nora watches them all leave and is just like, that was a lot easier than I expected it to be.
What is your name? And I put the sniffing salts under him, pinch him again if he needs to be pinched, but if he doesn't need to be, I'll just put this.
He doesn't need to be. He's drooling from the lip, twitching, his eyes flicking from side to side, and he says, "Bleeker, Bleeker's name."
Beaker. Well, my name is Thomas, but I'm sure you already knew that.
Yes, Watts. One of them.
Is someone talking to you right now in your head?
Talking.
Or something?
His eyes flick from side to side and says, "Talk more, yes."
Tell me more. Tell me everything.
The artifact. Give it. They need it. They need it now.
Why? What do they need it for? I'm sure we can help.
Not for you to know, not for you to help. Give it.
Do you know?
It's not for me to know. Secrets. Deep secrets.
The artifact was destroyed.
It's
We
destroyed.
it.
Ah! And you see as his eyes start to grow wider, his eyes themselves start to bulge from their sockets. He breathes heavily, white spittle flying from his mouth as he tries to pull himself upwards. But one leg is useless.
I pin him back down. I assume he was strapped down.
He was not strapped down. He was simply unconscious in the corner before.
Are there straps on this bed?
He's not even in a bed. He's literally lying on the ground because this place is so packed with people.
Oh, okay.
So there's a bunch of other people of various states of consciousness in the room at this time, as well as as well as a few what do you call them? Just like regular crewmen.
What else do you know? Tell me more. Tell me everything. We can make sure you get the medical care you need and you survive, and you can actually fall into the right crowd.
He breathes heavily, eyes once continuing to pulsate and flip from side to side. He seems to be breathing harder and harder. Looks up towards you and says, "Survive, live. No, that's not for me anymore."
Great. Hey, right. Why don't you do your pyramid-y thing? Put it next to him. See if you feel.
Does Ray do so?
James, use your pyramid thing. Put it next to the guy. See if you feel anything from him. I feel like he might be possessed.
Don't think it works that way.
I don't know. You felt it from Mrs. Cuthbert when she walked past us before in the dining hall.
She had an object.
She did. That is true. Those ring things, right?
Kind of shrugs, puts his hand in his pocket, and steps closer.
Stepping closer, you do not feel the object reacting.
Nothing?
Give him a...
There? What if I was to tell you were going to survive? And then you're going to spend the rest of your life in an asylum? You know, in England, the asylums aren't very well kept. Not as well as in America. It'd be more like a drippy, wet castle. Old castle that you'd probably be kept in. Oh, dear.
He retches and vomits. He starts to vomit what smells like what looks like water and smells salty. He retches again, and more comes out of his mouth. An unreal amount of water is coming forth from his mouth. At this point, he seems to can't be unable to control himself. The crewmen behind step forward and say, "What's going on? Is he all right?"
I don't think so. I mean, he's just vomiting water. Isn't? Did anybody see what happened to you, Brady? Or did you tell us that happened to you too?
Did Wright ever tell me whether or not he was vomiting?
Oh, right. Yeah.
He never told me. Okay.
He's just got pneumonia. He was out in the cold.
Is there like
Yeah.
a bucket or a sink near him?
There are buckets, and there's a sink up above. It's a pretty small space, but yeah, I'd say buckets would be the most immediate thing.
I would grab a bucket and give it to him.
He continues to retch. You see as if he almost seems to start to desiccate in front of you. His build starts to shrink almost as he continues to vomit this water across the deck. He bucks against it, trying to stop, but continues until suddenly the flow of the liquid stops. And he collapses head down in the bucket in front of him.
Take his head out of the bucket and lay him back down in like a recovery position. I say, crewman, go get the doctor. I think she's had enough fresh air.
The crewman says, like, that seems wise, and opens the door and steps out. The body lies unmoving.
Well, that was
Anybody-
unexpected.
Yeah, anybody like at the window looking in?
I guess yeah. If you take a look, you do not see anybody looking in the window.
So it wasn't like somebody was looking at him casting a spell. I mean, like you guys saw, I didn't do anything to him, right?
Yeah. I'm not
Other
sure
than
what caused him.
terrifying him, no.
I mean, as just being more so forceful. I wasn't terrifying him. Maybe terrorizing him.
In any case, I don't think you are responsible for this man's death. That is...
Is he dead?
He looks pretty dead.
Do the pulse check on him?
He does not have a pulse.
Oh, he is dead.
Well, this is going to be difficult to explain to the doctor.
Well, I mean, we had all the crewmen witnessing. It's not as though we made him drink a gallon of water and then throw it back up.
The body looks significantly different than it did moments before. It looks almost as if he has been dead for some time. A body that had been potentially buried and left with the vital liquids drawn from it.
Talking to the crewman, Wright says, you're competent individuals. There's clearly nothing you could have done. I mean, obviously, just look at him. This was nothing you guys were doing. You guys.
I'm trying not to think about it, sir. This has been a strange enough situation.
Can I do an occult roll, knowing about possession, body possession of the dead and stuff?
Sure. With a successful occult roll, what you might interpret this as is that he seemed to likely be under the effects of some kind of magic or spell. That this was essentially like a dead man's switch of some kind, but for his own sanity or something like that. Essentially, is that as you came closer to breaking him, somebody had placed something upon him that ensured that he would not divulge anything of value but without dying because of it.
Like a cyanide tooth.
Yes, exactly, like a magical cyanide tooth. Essentially, that once he was beginning to break, he would tip over the edge, and this would take hold.
I'll be like, Oh, darn it! We were close to breaking him. I've read about this before where you can influence and put somebody under a spell, and if they come close to breaking, giving out vital information, that they end up just dying from it. Like this spell ends and they are no more. I've read about this. This looks exactly what I read about.
Well, that's kind of grotesque.
Oh, indeed. I mean, when is it called beautiful?
Is there anything else we can learn here?
Oh, he doesn't look like he's a fresh body, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Is Flinders here?
Yes, there is a snoozing Flinders curled up in one corner with a blanket tucked over him.
Oh, huh. Nothing else. Is Doctor here yet? Where is the Doctor?
Just at this point, the doctor comes back in and says, "What happened? What? This is the man you were speaking to?"
Well, you saw the man, and this is the man. He was throwing up water and wouldn't stop, and then just looked like this afterwards. I mean,
There
you're a
was-
doctor.
There was nothing your men could have done. It was obviously outside influence. He's under some kind of
Spell.
yeah. I don't know that there's a medical term for it. I mean,
It's
just
a
look
spell.
at him. Gestures broadly at his changed appearance.
No, right, it's a spell. He's under a spell.
The doctor pinches his eyebrows or pinches between his eyebrows and looks back at you and says, "Under normal circumstances, I'd call you mad and blame you for this, but from what I've seen in the last few days, this is hardly the strangest thing to have happened." He nods to the two crewmen and says, "Can you get the body out of here? It'll probably clear a bit of the crowd outside simply seeing him taken out."
What is the body count up to right now?
That you know of.
Just bad
terms
guys, right?
Yeah, the bad guys have been decimated. The rest of the crew, and like there's injured, but I don't think you've run into anybody who's for sure confirmed dead. There are certainly some pretty severely injured crew and passengers, but
Wasn't
you know.
the guy guarding the vault? Didn't he get killed?
Oh wait, yes, way back, yes. That guy was for sure killed.
So there's like a makeshift morgue. In
Yeah,
the,
so there's
steerage.
down in the freezer. Interestingly, of course, with like this kind of ship and the amount of time that it would take to cross over the sea, they would have packed the like fridges and freezers like right to full, and they'd be slowly picking away at them. So like as they get like be at the halfway point, they'd actually have freed up a fair bit of space within the cold storage. So you find yourself in the room in the infirmary. This desiccated and for some reason now rigor mortis body is picked up by the two crewmen rather easily since it has lost so much water weight. Liquid coats the deck from where he has vomited copiously. The other people in the room all seem rather delirious, given that the doctor was really treating the most serious cases of crew and passengers who were hurt.
I suggest we head to the bridge. There's not much we can do here now.
No, it would appear not. This is certainly not getting any less strange. Let's go speak with the captain and see if he can give us an update on where we stand. And with any luck at all on our side, perhaps we can simply relax and actually enjoy the rest of this voyage.
Do you all agree? Anything else to do in the infirmary before you move along?
No, I think Brady might go out ahead of everyone, and before everyone shows up at the bridge, he's just gonna like kind of just peer out into the ocean and just have like a couple moments of silence.
You find some solace looking out across the ocean. The seas are quiet. You see some rolling thunder and lightning in the clouds behind the stern. They're not too far away. They seem to still be attempting to catch up, but they are going slower than the ship is making headway across the ocean. The seas not totally clean, but or totally clear, but some white caps, but definitely much more quiet than they were before.
As we're leaving the infirmary, I'll just ask the doctor real quick. How has he been doing? Pointed over towards Flinders.
The doctor looks over and says, I think he'll be all right. It was a terrible wound that he suffered, but it was fortunate that we were able to get him here so quickly. We were able to sew it up. You know, those triangular wounds. That's why back in the wars, bayonets were often made into triangles. Much more difficult to stitch up.
It's good to hear you were able to stabilize him at least.
He should come through. It was a mortal wound, and I'm sure he'll be the wiser for it.
All right, well, I'll let you get back to your work.
He goes back to directing the nurses. I guess they could have been nuns. In helping out with the various wounded crew and passengers. So, as the group of you head up towards the bridge, you do still see a bunch of crew going to and fro, dealing with moving items around, bringing meals to cabins, but nobody intrudes upon your movement up to the bridge. You see a single crewman who is standing guard at the top of the steps, but recognize you. He nods and steps aside, allowing you to enter the bridge. You find the bridge a hubbub of motion. You see a captain who is obviously very tired, having not slept while you had your opportunity to. He is wavering upon his feet, but you see a determined look upon his eyes. He turns towards you and says, good timing. We should speak briefly. I must get sleep. It seems we are out of the worst of it. But I would have to ask you if that is actually true. Surely you're the ones who know best whether the danger is behind us.
Oh, Captain, I mean, I think it might be. I mean, I think it is over. The worst of it, at least. I mean, I'm sure. Actually, there's still somebody on board that needs to be arrested, we believe, and put into the brig until we can confirm their identity. Surely, after everything we've been through, you could trust our stance on that or our suggestion on that one. It's better safe than sorry at this point.
You sound like you're trying to be charming.
Oh no, no, at all. I'm just being honest. Like, not charming, not persuasive. I'm just stating facts.
Make the captain do a psychology roll, I guess.
I'm not trying to trick him or fast talk him or anything. So,
The captain is very tired.
this is a record, by the way. There's 3 100s rolled today.
The captain, so tired, is really neither here nor there on deciding whether he believes you, and simply says, "Oh, if that is so, give the information to the first mate. We'll see to it and deal with it later. I'm not taking any chances. I have to get some sleep. Is there anything more you can tell me about our situation?
Yeah, so I was reading up on the situation, and in a book I discovered, I believe that we have passed the worst of it. It's I don't know if you knew this, Captain, but I was part of the Titanic. I was a survivor, and I believe that they suffered the same fate that we should have suffered, but somehow, miraculously, maybe because this boat is faster, we got through.
The Titanic hit an iceberg. We didn't see any on our
Did not,
shot.
sir. It did not, sir. I was witness.
If that is so, then that is dark tidings. But from what we've seen in these last few days, I suppose anything is possible. Regardless, I'm happy to hear your conclusion that we are safe, even if it is, well, hard to be too sure.
We're past the worst of it. Safe? I can't guarantee yet. We still need to be alert. Trust no one new that you can't trust now.
And our valued passenger, the one who had roped you into her spell, is she safe?
The one who roped you into her spell, Mrs. Hastings.
Indeed, yes, the eponymous Mrs. Hastings.
She is safe as far as we were aware. I mean, we took her for some medical attention, and then she went back to her room to rest up. Cleared from the doctor to leave, obviously.
I do so hope that she is well. Obviously, of our treasured cargo. I suppose she could be counted among them. And the artifact too. Was it taken by the assault?
I look over to everyone for them to answer.
It is best not to discuss the location of that item. Too many ears around.
He had ushered you into his cabin.
Oh, sorry,
behind
okay.
the bridge.
Wait, didn't we tell him the object was already thrown overboard? Or did we just tell the first mate that?
I thought you just told the first mate that. I might have got that wrong. I was under the impression that that was a first mate thing.
Yeah,
That might be true.
I don't think we directly told him.
Yeah,
No, I
think
don't
you
think
just
so.
left it unsaid.
I suppose there's no harm given our current situation, but the artifact is safe. That is all you need to know.
He nods, and puts his head in his hands. He reaches under his desk and flips a latch, pulling back a hidden drawer in the lower part of the desk, from which he pulls a decanter with a brown liquid in it and a few and 4 glasses. He says towards you, he says, "Well, we'll have to share, but I only have 4 glasses." And he pours a hefty pour into each of them, pushing 3 towards you, and says, "I do so hope you're right. I think once you leave here, well, I'm going to catch a few hours of sleep before getting back up. I think at this point the crew has the ship well under control. See to it that the first mate looks into whoever this is that's of suspicion, and we'll have to regroup on it tomorrow."
Thank you, Captain, for your understanding.
Nora will grab one of the glasses and take a
Yeah, I'll take it.
take a sip. I appreciate this, Captain. You obviously understand what the last few days have been like, and we are hoping the end is in sight.
Indeed, myself as well. At least the fair weather bodes well for the rest of our trip. Even if it is cold and we've come farther north than we expected, we're making good headway now with the engines back online. I'm just waiting to hear reports from the crew as to the state of the crew, or the rest of the crew and the passengers. But it seems like those that were locked up downstairs may have done terrible things to each other.
Unfortunate. There'll be quite a lot of questions when we arrive, I'm sure.
I think most of the danger's past now that Miss Cuthbert is dead and her lackeys, or at least it seems the most influential. And as I mentioned, Miss Cuthbert, does there seem to be any amount of emotional reaction to that? Uh, me stating aloud that she's dead.
Give me a psychology roll.
Nice.
Ooh.
Wow, there you go. You look at the captain carefully to see. You see you see something that like almost just so briefly crosses across his eyes, showing some small amount of reaction. He shakes his head and says, uh, "The memories, they come and they go. I don't know what exactly happened during that blank period, but well, let's just say that it's both something forgotten and something I may never forget. It's hard to understand the separation between the dream and the reality. Maybe it was all a dream."
It can definitely be difficult to have your mind played against itself in that way. But the perpetrators have been brought to justice. A kind of justice, anyways.
I'm sure they were simply mechanisms of a larger organization. Given the way in which they were able to play this, I would suggest that you probably disembark before we make it to London. I will note you guys had planned to do that, but he doesn't know that.
Does this mean vacation will be cut short?
I think we will all benefit from spending more time on land as soon as we can get there.
It's mostly cargo unloaded at the first port of call, which I forget what it is, but there's basically the ship stops on the west coast in Wales somewhere before continuing on around to London, I believe. Says, well, I'll finish this drink and catch some rest. Do let me know if there's anything more comes of your investigation, and well, continue to be vigilant. We don't know whether there's anything more of danger left.
Oh, don't worry. We'll be keeping our eyes most wide open. Get some rest, Captain. We're hopefully all able to get back to our normal routine at this point, but I'm sure it'll take some time for the passengers, at least, to put this behind them, and your guidance will be necessary.
He waves his hand with a drink in it and says, "Well, I'm glad that you've got some rest and came through this alive. It's better than it's oh, sorry it's been more of a eventful trip than I would have hoped for, but I'm glad to say that well, there's few true casualties, and we should be able to make our trip safely at this point."
Nora will nod and head out of the room.
Thank you, Captain. Be sure to get some sleep. And head out.
He's looking over his manifests and books as you leave the room. The first mate turns to you as you leave.
You want to describe the person that you saw, rather?
Yes, we were informed that there was I guess a fourth member that was not with the others in the mess hall last night. And we're not 100% certain. We believe it is. Well, I'll look over it. What was his name?
Markopoulos.
Markopoulos. Who is cook in the mess hall.
The first mate looks to you and goes and says, "I'll confirm with the captain one moment." And he goes and pokes his head into the captain's room, and you hear him have a brief exchange. He says, "All right, the captain has confirmed. I'll send the crew to detain him. What do you plan to do with him?"
Well, I mean,
Probably best we don't make that decision anytime soon, but keep him under close watch and make sure whoever is watching him is well trusted.
and it's your ship, so I mean, they caused quite a ruckus on your ship.
At the very least, we can keep him from causing any more trouble for the rest of the voyage.
Indeed, if anything more is to happen to him, we'll need some evidence to present to the constabulary once we reach port. They are not simply going to take our word, but otherwise we can at least keep him under lock and key for the rest of the voyage without charge.
Hopefully that will be all it takes, and when we arrive, he will confess to all of his misdeeds. For now, I will simply sleep better knowing he will not be up to any more trouble. It may be worth questioning him about any further allies.
And if it helps, you can say that he was ratted out by one of the individuals that have passed in the cabin.
Leaker, we could say. Well, I fear the same fate will take over this gentleman that we're going to arrest. Well, maybe gentleman's a bit far fetched, but this guy that we're going to arrest, he might be possessed too.
I honestly think I would prefer he were possessed. It's somehow easier to understand than willingly siding with whatever these things are.
Maybe we should escort you first, mate, and we can physically point him out. Would you be up for the task here, Roland? Would you be able to point him out if you saw him again?
So a couple of others, obviously he was not the only one who saw him.
Oh, I wasn't there. I was sleeping.
It was before that you guys had Draper and Wright and Brady had talked to the same guy.
Did you talk to him, right?
I thought so.
I don't think I was there.
Was it
I
no?
thought it was I think it was
Baker and
Nora.
Brady.
Yeah,
Or either way, Baker and Brady
but
are familiar with the same person.
I'm definitely able to help confront him as well. He was very hesitant to be compliant with any of the questioning that we threw his way. So, are we assuming are we going to try and apprehend him now, or was it something we're just gonna keep him? Or are we just gonna watch him? I guess that's kind of out of character to Watts and just anybody. Were we actually going to just apprehend him, or were we gonna like just have?
I'd be content just to keep him out of trouble, because if
Yeah.
he's the last piece in the puzzle or whatever, we'd at least get
Gotcha.
our job done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just lock him up.
Yeah, and if he was the backup, then him being free is a danger to us.
Well, I will volunteer myself to help and point him out.
Yeah, I mean, we can all get together. There's no reason why we need to break up. Unless somebody wants to check on Mrs. Hastings.
Wouldn't mind checking in on my journalist counterpart. See if he survived all the upheaval.
Probably not a bad idea to just check in on Miss Hastings at this point. She, I'm sure, needed the rest as much as we did, but there wasn't quite the protection in her quarters that I would hope for.
Not quite the same.
I suppose we should set a rendezvous point and meet back up sooner rather than later. Things may still get strange around here rather quickly.
So some of you are going to go get Mark Markopolis into custody, some to Mrs. Hastings, and some to check Wright to check on Hughes.
Yes, sir.
I would say
Guess so.
maybe Wright not go alone, preferably.
I've got 3 HP. That's at least one soft punch.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get a good hard slap on the back, and you just die.
I'll tag along with the Hastings crew. Apologize to Green in person.
All right, so who's off to Hastings and who's off to Markopolis?
I'm off to with Brady.
So I guess I'm checking on Hastings.
Same. Mr. Watts, after all of the courting, just drops her like it's hot.
He knows
my
Nora
book.
has a better
As
chance.
soon as he got the book,
I'll go with
Yeah,
the people going to Mark. I feel like having one more there would be more relevant in case he tries to run.
So Brady, Watts, and Draper to Mark Markopolis, and Wright and Baker to Hastings.
Yep.
And I gave
all
up on Mrs. Hastings when I realized she was more interested in Nora.
you got the book.
Best friends don't compete.
Exactly. I'm a good wingman.
Brady, Watts, and Draper, you, along with 3 of the crewmen assigned to you, head down towards the kitchen. You head into the room and find it a continued bustle of activity as they're going between the sort of lunch and dinner service, and dinner service is just starting to get going with various stews and roasts and baked goods being made. You look across the room and you are seeking out the Mark Markopolis. He was at the far side of the room before, but no sign of him as you enter.
What time of day is it at this point?
Probably like 3.
Okay. Because I do remember in my conversation with him, he worked long days. So I guess
did.
I would find that a bit strange.
I guess I'll ask like one of the cooks nearby. I said, "Have you seen Mr. Markopoulos?"
He looks up and says, "He should be in the back there, making the chicken soup." Mark, and you hear a clatter of pans, and the fellow stands up. Mr. Watts, as he stands up, you feel a strange vibration from your ring. And the fellow that stands up is ghostly pale with a gruesome scar across his face from the top of his forehead down across his nose, slashing the top of his lip and across his cheek.
Do I recognize him?
You
Am
do
I-
not.
And
What-
Watts is
I
the
take
only
a
one that
step
sees
back.
this?
Yes, specifically Watts sees this.
He looks normal to everyone else.
I have the
Everybody
satchel
else,
on me
he
as
looks
well,
the
right?
same- yeah, everybody else, he looks like the same portly, curly-haired fellow with sort of blotchy, dark skin that you saw before.
I'll whisper into who's standing next to me, Brady or Roland. I'll whisper into one of your ears. That guy's not what he seems to be. I can see a massive scar on his face.
I'm just gonna assume that we're probably both close enough to him to hear a whisper. Maybe.
Yeah, let's say that you two. I'm in the middle of you two. Just slightly. I took a step back and I leaned forward and whisper that to you, so you both hear.
I'll
I'm reaching for my gun, like not to bring it out, but ready to pull out.
I'll try to act like I don't hear that to try not to
React.
give off any reaction, and just kind of look to the crewmen who were with us and say, "Well, that's him."
Yeah, and then I
Oh,
guess
shit.
I'm gonna.
I pressed the wrong thing.
I didn't see anything. So.
Sorry.
Oh, you quit as well. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be on high alert, basically. I don't think I'm going to immediately react in any particular way.
I mean, if I shot him in the head right now, it would show you what I'm seeing.
He starts to step around and say, "What's going on here?" and looks between the group of you. I guess give me what's a good.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the best idea that I, who am holding the satchel with the thing inside, came along to apprehend the backup.
Yeah.
In hindsight,
Uh, there's no like. I'm just looking at the skills. If there's something that really makes sense. Yeah, there's no like generic sort of. All right, we'll just play it out. He approaches you initially. How do you and says, "What's going on here?"
I was kind of trying to let the crewmen go forward and like
Yeah.
try to
So
apprehend
as
him.
he steps forward, if you wait, the crewman will step forward and say, "Mark, we need to escort you to your quarters. There seems to be something going on, and we need to keep you safe." He looks from one to the other and to the group of you, and I guess give me like a psychology roll to guess about how he's going to react, or potentially like a stealth roll to like hide your intentions.
Who
Each
are
of
you
us,
asking to do
or
that?
Yeah, all three of you.
Nice.
So, Roland, with your psychology check, you know that he is on high alert. He seems very suspicious of the situation, but not totally sure yet. Mr. Watts, he does not see that you are going for your gun. Mr. Brady, he looks across at you as you seem to be bracing yourself and moving to the side as the two or three crewmen come forward. He looks around and suddenly lunges for a knife to the side. The crewmen, though, ready for this, descend upon him, wrestling him to the ground. Moments later, he is able to try and throw them off, breaking free briefly. Why did the music not change? This is very mellow music for the situation. This is
I was
not
enjoying the music.
He knows it's all over.
Oh no! Now my mood changed.
There you go. He tosses them off to the side with some unreal strength as he gets back to his feet. Mr. Brady and Mr. Draper, you see now as this super pale, almost white-skinned person stands up, mottled features with a gruesome scar across the face. He turns towards you and says, "The artifact will be returned to whence it came." And he breaks into a run for the other exit at the far side of the kitchen.
Can I shoot by then? I mean, like seeing the wrestling, I would have had my gun drawn, ready to shoot.
Yes, as I was about to say, you guys can basically, in your order of your speed or whatever it is that decides your order in or whatever dexterity.
dexterity.
Well, so with the gun ready, that will be Mr. Watts first if he wants to draw and fire.
Yes, I will draw on fire. Do I get surprise attack or anything like that? Because like I was ready for it or not?
No, you just get to go faster.
Alright, I'll take a shot. Bollocks.
You remember you can fire multiple shots, but you have to take disadvantage on it. You want to like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I'll go 2 more. Bang, bang. Knowing that I failed the first one. Oh, hard success.
All right. Well, you got a penalty die on that. Fuck. What does that mean? 9? No, that means it's a 92.
92, yeah.
Yeah. So you fire off a spread of shots that clang across the kitchen, plinging off of pots, and sending the various cooks scrambling for cover. They don't manage to make contact. Brady and Draper, you can react to try and chase after him or draw your weapons.
I think I would just like try to tackle him as he went by.
You can run after him. Give me a brawl check.
Not very good, but I don't think Roland would have his gun on him right now. Nope.
I'll say with both of you failing, the two of you tussle and tumble and both get back to your feet. Mr. Brady.
I'm trying to think whether or not Roland, like his character, like he wouldn't be like in the way or like obscuring Mark's silhouette, right? Like I could shoot potentially. I guess.
Yeah, I believe I saw. I forget there's a rule for this in terms of Yeah, I guess you can shoot, but he would be close enough that if you got a critical failure, you would hit him. But it'd have to be a critical failure, like a straight up one.
So
Oh,
like
God.
we've only had 3 today, so what's the chances that we get another one?
Sorry, a straight up 100. I mean,
Well, my brawl's not very good, and I'm an old man.
Do it.
But he has
So
experience.
you're
Steven
not wrong.
Seagal,
I
what do you
guess
do?
throwing knife.
I'm gonna feel real bad if I do crit or roll a 100.
No, go for it.
You won't do it. You got.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, what?
There you go, other way.
Oh
Nice.
snap! Carefully drawing your gun, and you slowly pull it out from its holster in your jacket and level it as you see the gruesome creature, the human-like form, duck and weave through the kitchen. You pull a bead upon him. You look. You're about to pull the trigger, but you wait just a moment before pulling it all the way. His head passes behind a hanging pan that would have blocked the shot. You slowly squeeze the trigger the rest of the way, just as the head peeks out from behind it. The gun breaks out in a loud retort. The bullet flies true, just flying past the pan on the right hand side before he makes it out the door, connecting with the side of his skull. His brains and black blood splatter across the wall, and his body tumbles to the ground, rolling forward. You hear the slam of the kitchen doors as the dead body flies through it, slumping on the ground and falling in a pile.
I'm gonna holster my gun and I'm gonna look at Mr. Watson. I'm gonna point at him.
Very nice, Brady. You have to teach me how to shoot like that.
I just watched Nora a bunch.
I'll say, well, that's one way to take care of him.
Is he dead?
I think so. Ultimately, it would have been better to like get him alive, but I think he is dead.
I'll go and just like kick him. See if he moves.
Just with my tip of my boot, sashimi for dinner, anyone? Prodding at the brain bits on the floor.
Gross.
Well, crewman, we were right, first mate. We told you that this guy was not right, and you saw him transform in front of you.
The crewmen are getting back to their feet, and and one of them looks back and says, "That's a hell of a shot, sir. I don't think he'll be getting up from that." Looking down. 1 second.
Were you a sniper in World War One?
Brady's just gonna say under his breath, like, I didn't even mean to do that.
I've had enough shit for 2 days.
One of the three crewmen stumbles backwards and slams into one of the gas stoves, burning his hand and screaming out, and says, "What is that thing? What the fuck is going on?" And turns around and runs from the room, slamming through the doors and back out into the hall.
Pull my gun out. No, I was kidding.
Just anything that moves.
Yeah, anything that runs from us, we shoot.
Rolls a
The
crit.
kitchen crew seem to be able to handle themselves better, having been a little bit more in the thick of things and seen what happened in the dining hall already.
Well, we think that's the last of them. Search the body, see if there's anything on him.
Yeah, give me a spot hidden.
Roger that. Spots hidden. I'm in combat right now. How do I get back skills?
I'd assist if I could.
Sure.
I can't spend more. I can't spend another 10 points. That'll only leave me with 13 luck.
You got no luck now. You can do another one.
Ah,
Should I roll?
Well, if
or-
he's helping, do you want a bonus or is rolling gonna roll separately?
it's up to you. I mean, do you have a better spot hidden than 68?
No, that's 50.
Should I take a bonus then?
Sure.
Would that be better? Is that mathematically better
Yeah,
if I do that?
Automatically better, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's a lot better. You carefully go through the pockets of the fellow. He seems to be wearing different clothing now than what you saw him in from being a chef. Bedraggled coat and leather clothing. Looking through the pockets, you find he also seems to be carrying a token that looks like the one that you found on both Miss Cuthbert and the one that Miss Baker had received from her parents.
A token, like a locket.
Yes, yes, a like no, it's like just like it's like a coin almost that is on a leather strap with a little hole through it.
Oh, I see.
It
Yeah.
has like a set of letters on it. I think S and K, and like a symbol behind it.
I read that off. Take it. Any notes on him? Any answers to deciphering the message?
There is not just the token seems to be upon him.
Huh. Just find this token on him. We'll take that. I guess you need to get a cleanup crew here, but that's our concerns taken care of. Might as well go join the others at Mrs. Hastings' room.
All right, Wright and Baker heading for Mrs. Hastings' room. You don't encounter anything of note on your way up. Just some crew going back and forth with their various food and drinks and so on and plates. You find yourself outside of her door without much issue.
So knock gently and wait a moment to see if we hear anything.
You hear no answer when you knock.
Knock again and wait a moment. If I don't hear anything, I will call out, I guess. Miss Hastings, sorry to disturb you.
Did we leave Miss Hastings in the captain's quarters?
Oh, I think you did.
And he hasn't slept yet.
And he hasn't gone to sleep yet.
Well, he was sleeping in the first mates because we had.
He was
locked his
using a different
up.
room, yeah.
Yeah, he was using the first mate's room. So good point. Yes, you would have gone to the captain's quarters and knocked on the door and have not heard any response.
Or we knocked on the wrong door before remembering.
Yes, or you knocked on the wrong door before remembering, and then we're like, wait a second, and headed over there.
Well, sure. I mean, if she is not in there, it doesn't respond to the call, I guess I'll open the door.
I believe the door was picked locked without a real key for it. So the door is locked.
Forgot about that. Yes, that makes sense.
Is it unlockable from the inside?
It would be unlockable from the inside, yes.
Okay, so we didn't like accidentally imprison someone. Good to know.
Okay, but that is a good point then. Is it still locked? Because this is the only door. So if there's no key for it,
No, it was picked locked.
okay, yes, but is it still locked? Because if there's no key and it's still locked, then if she left,
Yeah,
it
she's
wouldn't be
just
locked
so
anymore.
it's locked still. So presumably she is still inside.
Okay. Perhaps she is very deeply asleep. I'll try knocking more loudly and calling out, Miss Hastings, are you all right?
After some more moments pass, you hear a sound of a fuck, And a sound of a clatter as it sounds like somebody goes sprawling across the floor.
Miss Hastings?
A few minutes later, the door opens and a bedraggled Mrs. Hastings opens it a crack and says, Miss Baker? Well, where am I? This isn't my cabin.
No, I'm sorry, Miss Hastings. We thought it best that you were not in your own quarters. We couldn't find Miss Green or anyone else, and things were very strange last night. We thought you would be safer here.
You really were quite out of sorts.
Do you remember much of the evening?
She furrows her brow and says, I have the most incredible headache. We were going to cast the spell, and what happened? Weren't we successful? I thought we were successful.
You successfully cast a spell, yes. We can discuss the details when you've had some rest. Would you like us to bring you back to your cabin? Perhaps Miss Green has been looking for you.
She looks back into the room and looks back out towards you and says, yes, I'd be much more at home in my cabin. Which cabin am I even in? Whose cabin is this?
It's the captain's quarters. It seems a safe enough place, and he has not been using them.
She closes the door for a moment, and you hear some stumbling around, and she opens it again, and she seems to be wearing some kind of dressing gown, more than a dressing gown, like a coat over it. Says, all right, let's get back to my cabin. I do hope Miss Green is all right.
Indeed. Let's get you back to your comfortable quarters, and you can get some more rest.
You are able to escort her to her quarters without much of a hassle. And with the events of today, you are now into the late afternoon, about dinner time. I think we'll call it there, and you guys should think about if there is any critical things that you want to look into in terms of wrapping this up in the next session, as far as the artifacts and people on the boat, obviously. But really, that essentially with your swift dispatching of this fellow in the kitchen, thanks to an extreme success on a fucking shot across the room, you have more or less resolved what is going on upon this boat.